Think you know all the best boxing trilogies? Think again. We all know the classics: Ali vs. Frazier, Leonard vs. Duran, Pacquiao vs. Morales, Holyfield vs. Bow. But some rivalries go deeper, driven by heart, grit, and two people who just won't quit. Micky Ward and Arturo Gatti were two fighters who kept getting back up, round after round, not for fame, but for something far more profound. Stick around and you'll see why their trilogy remains unforgettable for reasons that extend beyond the ring. So, you know how they say good things come in threes? Well, in boxing, that's pretty much spot on. Some of the most epic rivalries are trilogies. Think Ali vs. Frazier, Bow vs. Holyfield. These weren't just one-off fights. They got better with each round, pushing both fighters to their absolute limits. That's exactly what Micky Ward and Arturo Gatti did for us. Their three fights weren't just about titles or knockouts. It was about pure heart and the will to keep going no matter the pain. For 13 months, from May 2002 to June 2003, these two guys went toe-to-toe in 10-round wars. And trust me, these weren't just regular fights. These were two guys who didn't know the meaning of give up, who made pain look like an old friend. Together, they gave us one of the greatest trilogies boxing has ever seen. Micky Ward, or Irish as they called him, came from Lowell, Massachusetts, a tough town where being tough was just part of the deal. He came from a family of fighters and was built like a brick, small but solid, like it was made from steel. The dude was no stranger to brutal brawls, having beaten guys like Emmanuel Augustus and Shianiri. When Ward threw punches, it wasn't just his fists doing the work. He was throwing years of blood, sweat, and tears into every hit. And then there's Arturo Gatti, aka Thunder. Born in Italy, raised in Canada, and from the start, it was clear he had something special. Gatti had that raw, fearless energy that set him apart. By the time he hit the pro circuit at 19, people were already talking about his speed, his combos, and his insane ability to take a hit and just keep coming. What made Gatti so special? It was the fire he brought into every fight, the way he tried to break his opponent's spirit with every punch. Well, everyone except Micky Ward, that is. Thing is, Ward and Gatti were so similar in so many ways. Same height, same weight, same reach. They both loved hitting the body hard, especially that solar plexus, where one solid punch could drop anyone. They were both tough as nails, willing to push their bodies to the limit to break their opponents. Like boxing commentator Larry Merchant said, they were ultimate warriors who didn't just want to win. They wanted to test every part of their body and mind, and trust me, they did. Boxing is full of sayings like styles make fights, but these two, they were like mirror images of each other. Same fighting style, same relentless energy. This wasn't going to be a fancy chess match. It was going to be a brutal test of who could take more punishment. Ward, who kept his blue-collar job as a steamroller driver even while he was fighting, summed it up perfectly. I picked a hard way to make a living. Before Ward and Gatti could cement their place in boxing history with their epic trilogy, it's worth noting that their first fight almost didn't happen. And when it did, it was a single judge's call that made sure their story didn't end after just one round. Let's dive in. By the time Arturo Gatti faced Micky Ward for the first time, he was already a household name, known for his aggressive, bob-till-you-drop style. However, his career was starting to decline by the age of 30, especially after a tough loss to Oscar de la Hoya in 2001. That defeat pushed his manager, Pat Lynch, to bring in Buddy McGirt to refine Gotti's raw style with more technique. Gotti's first fight with McGirt was a success, but his upcoming bout with Ward raised questions. Ward, seen as past his prime at 36, was known for his gritty, relentless fighting. Though many saw it as Gotti's time to shine, they underestimated Ward's inner grit, with the older fighter determined to prove he still had fire left. So when the bell rang, Gatti charged forward, light on his feet, showcasing his newfound agility. His footwork was sharp and his punches cleaner. It didn't take long before a small cut appeared above Ward's right eye. Just a trickle, but it signaled trouble. It seemed like Gotti's reinvention was working. Ward, though, wasn't fazed. He pressed on, almost as if he was willing to take punishment, waiting for the right moment to strike. As the rounds wore on, Gotti's clean body shots showed McGirt's influence, but Ward quickly adapted. By round 3, Ward had found his rhythm, cutting off Gotti's movement and relentlessly hammering his body. Gatti dodged some punches, but when Ward's fists landed, they hit like bricks. Body shots, especially to the liver, can change the course of a fight. A well-placed shot doesn't just hurt, it shuts down a fighter's system, leaving them gasping for air. Ward knew this well. He didn't just target Gotti's head, he broke him down, wearing him out until Gotti's defenses weakened and his arms dropped, leaving his head exposed. And this was just the beginning. In the fourth round, with swelling already on Gotti's face, they exchanged jabs and powerful punches, electrifying the crowd. Ward's left hook to the body and right to the head staggered Gatti, but he quickly fired back with a fierce combo that put Ward on the defensive. It was clear both fighters had entered another gear. Gatti charged forward with relentless combinations, while Ward, battered with cuts and bruises, absorbed the punishment with stoic resolve. Commentator Levy Nile noted Gotti's assault could have broken anyone else, but Ward didn't flinch. This was no longer just a match. It had become a clash of wills, a fierce confrontation between two men who refused to give in. In round 5, Ward again returned the favor with brutal body shots, unleashing a barrage of hits to Gotti's ribs, testing every inch of his opponent's resolve. The war of attrition was escalating. Gatti fired back with his own ferocity, peppering Ward with uppercuts and jabs. By round 6, the war was in full swing. The fighters looked like mirrors of pain and resilience, matching each other punch for punch, face for face, blood for blood. As the 7th and 8th rounds rolled by, both men had abandoned technique, descending into pure, unfiltered warfare. They were no longer boxers, they were gladiators. When the 9th round began, the crowd knew it was about to witness something extraordinary. This was the moment everything had led to. Ward, sensing an opening, pounced on Gotti's weakened state, delivering a left hook to the body that seemed to come straight from the depths of his soul. The left hook arced in and struck Gotti's liver like a thunderbolt. Gatti crumpled, his body screaming surrender, but his spirit willed him back up. Trainer Emmanuel Stewart remarked, "He's not going to recover. Body punches aren't like head punches." The doubt was palpable, and for a moment it seemed that might be true. Somehow, defying all odds, Gatti staggered to his feet. His body, battered and barely holding on, was immediately set upon by Ward, who pounced like a bull, unloading a combination of punches that left fans breathless. Gatti looked finished. The arena held its collective breath. But in that moment, the impossible happened. Gatti swung back, finding strength in reserves most fighters never reach. Now it was Ward who was stunned, forced back by Gotti's counterattack, eyes wide as if questioning how this was even possible. Round 9 became a vortex of sheer, unfathomable willpower. The line between victory and defeat had blurred entirely. The two battered warriors stood toe-to-toe, training punches with reckless abandon, refusing to back down. Gatti, bleeding and bruised, looked as if he'd reached his limit, yet he threw every ounce of his being into each punch. Ward, no less determined, met him with equal fervor, slugging it out until the bell's ring felt more like an act of mercy than a signal to rest. In a twist that had the crowd on its feet, Gatti, wobbling but defiant, retaliated, throwing punches with an intensity that stunned Ward. The two men, exhausted but undeterred, closed the round with a flurry of punches that echoed through the venue. Fans and commentators alike knew they had just witnessed one of boxing's greatest rounds. The fight finally ended, but in many ways it felt as if neither man had truly lost. Both had been pushed beyond their limits, enduring the kind of punishment most people couldn't fathom. They clinched and the 10th round ended. 10-9 Gatti. 94-94, 94-93, 95-93 for the winner by majority decision Micky Ward. The crowd did not disagree. After the 10th round, Stewart shouted, "This should be the round of the century." Gatti managed to outbox Ward in the final round, but the decision was left to the judges, who awarded the win to Micky Ward. Levy Nile pointed out that the fight was so incredible it didn't matter who won. It was destined to be a trilogy. Gatti showed deep respect for Ward, admitting that Ward's left hook was the hardest he'd ever been hit, even causing a cyst that would stay with him for life. Ward, in turn, reflected on the fight as a battle of two warriors with heart and determination. It was clear, neither man was backing down, and with that, the stage was set for round 2. The night of November 23, 2002 at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey was set to witness the continuation of one of boxing's most legendary rivalries, Micky Ward versus Arturo Gatti II. Their first clash in May had already earned the title of Fight of the Year, a brutal display of heart and determination that set the stage for their highly anticipated rematch. The second bout, however, would not disappoint. From the opening bell, Gatti took control, just as he had in their first encounter. He showcased his superior footwork and lightning speed, refusing to get caught in a brawl with the tough Irishman. Instead, he danced around Ward, dropping low to avoid body shots while landing precise jabs and sharp counterpunches from a distance. In the third round, Gatti's skill and precision paid off. A devastating straight right hand sent Ward crashing to the canvas, and the crowd gasped as the older fighter struggled to regain his footing. Gatti seized the opportunity, unloading a barrage of punches, beating Ward mercilessly for the remainder of the round. Ward, though hurt, refused to back down. Despite suffering a burst eardrum from a vicious shot to the side of the head, he continued to fight on. He dug deep, landing hard body shots and finding moments of success, particularly in the final round. But Gatti's speed and strategic counterpunching kept him ahead, and as the fight wore on, it became clear that the older fighter was fighting a losing battle. The bell rang for the last time, and though Ward had given it everything he had, the judges were unanimous in their decision. Arturo Gatti had won. The fight, like their first, was a testament to the toughness and heart of both men. But Gatti's superior boxing skills earned him the victory, further cementing the rivalry in boxing history. Arturo Gatti and Micky Ward's third fight, the final chapter of the legendary trilogy, is widely regarded as the most dramatic and emotional of their encounters, solidifying their legacy as warriors in the sport. By the time they met for the third time, both had already left an indelible mark on boxing. Ward had narrowly won the first by unanimous decision, and Gatti had claimed a memorable victory in the second. With the score now even, the third bout was inevitable. Fans and pundits eagerly anticipated what promised to be another grueling clash between two of the toughest men in boxing. Gatti, coming off a dominant win in their second fight, was the slight favorite. However, he was deeply aware of the challenges Ward posed, particularly his powerful right hand. As the Italian-Canadian champ put it, "I used to wonder what fighting my twin would be like. Now I know." Gatti's acknowledgement of Ward's raw power was a nod to the grueling wars they had already fought. Ward had made it clear that this third bout would be his swan song. Despite his age and the damage from the previous two wars, Ward wanted to go out with a bang. For him, it wasn't just about victory, it was about proving something to himself and to the world. As he stepped into the ring, it was clear this was more than just a fight. It was a final statement, the closing chapter of a storied career. The first round began with both fighters establishing their pace. Gatti was looking to use his jab to control the distance, while Ward tried to get inside and land his signature left hooks. Ward had success early, landing a few clean shots, but Gatti's jab was precise and kept Ward at bay. By the end of the round, it was clear that both men were prepared for a brutal war. As the rounds progressed, Gatti began to take control, using his superior boxing skills to land sharp combinations. Ward, however, was unrelenting, constantly pressing forward and landing heavy blows when he could. In the second round, Gatti's jab was on point, but Ward continued to sneak in hooks to the body and to the head. The crowd was energized, knowing they were witnessing another epic clash. The third round saw Gatti's superior boxing come to the fore. His footwork was fluid, and his jab was landing cleanly. Ward, though bloodied, continued to press the action, aiming to wear Gatti down with his relentless aggression. At the end of the third, it seemed as though Gatti was in control, but Ward wasn't backing down. The crowd roared as both fighters exchanged punches at close range. The fourth round proved to be a pivotal moment in the fight, and perhaps in both fighters' careers. Early in the round, Gatti suffered a significant injury. He broke his right hand after landing a punch to Ward's hip. The pain was immediate and debilitating. Gatti winced in agony as he returned to his corner, shouting, my hand, my hand." His trainer, however, was calm and composed. "What do you want to do about it?" he asked. And Gatti's answer was simple: "I gotta keep going." From that point on, Gatti was forced to fight with one hand, yet he still managed to land effective shots. But Ward, sensing an opportunity, pounced on the wounded fighter, targeting Gatti's injury and landing vicious shots. By the end of the round, Gatti was cut above the right eye and swelling was beginning to form on his face. Ward, ever the warrior, continued to press the action, landing clean rights and lefts that sent Gatti stumbling. Despite the injury, Gatti remained determined, knowing that his broken hand was just another obstacle to overcome. It was this resolve that had always defined his career, and it would not falter now. With Gatti's injury in mind, Ward intensified his attack in the fifth round. The momentum seemed to be shifting in his favor as he landed a series of right hooks and left hands to the body and head. Gatti, now handicapped by his injury, could no longer rely on his powerful right hand, and Ward took full advantage, landing clean shots. By the sixth round, Gatti was starting to show signs of fatigue. His left eye was swelling and his right hand was essentially useless. Ward, sensing the opportunity, pressed forward with even greater ferocity. But despite the odds, Gatti dug deep and continued to trade punches, refusing to back down. The crowd was on its feet as the two men exchanged powerful blows. However, Ward wasn't going to make it easy for Gatti. In the sixth round, a devastating right uppercut and left hook sent Gatti to the canvas. Ward had finally done what seemed impossible. He'd knocked Gatti down. But even after the knockdown, Gatti showed incredible heart by getting back up and continuing the fight. This was the essence of the rivalry, two warriors with an unbreakable spirit. By the 10th round, both men were exhausted, battered, and covered in blood, but neither would back down. They stood toe-to-toe, exchanging heavy punches as the crowd roared. It was a brutal display of heart and willpower. In the final moments, they embraced, their bond forged in pain and sacrifice. The bell rang, Gatti was declared the winner, but it was clear the real victory belonged to boxing itself, as both fighters had given everything. Despite the savage injuries they'd inflicted on each other, something beautiful emerged from the trilogy. Gatti and Ward, once fierce rivals, became lifelong friends. They bonded over more than just boxing. They shared a love for basketball, golf, and most importantly, respect for each other as fighters and as men. Tragically, Arturo Gatti's life was cut short in 2009 when he died under suspicious circumstances. Micky Ward, who attended the funeral, gave Gatti's coffin one last tap and tearfully said, "See, old friend, I got the last hit." It was a poignant moment, a symbol of deep friendship and respect that had blossomed from their years of rivalry. Their story transcended boxing. It was a tale of heart, resilience, and friendship, qualities that not only defined their trilogy, but also defined them as people. Their rivalry, once defined by punches and bloodshed, turned into one of the most heartwarming stories in sports.